We are live. We are live. We are live. How's everybody doing tonight? Guys, I'm gonna tell you, it's a blast fishing for crappie throughout the year. But as I always say, during the spawn is my least favorite time. Without a doubt, my least favorite time. But it's still fun getting out there. Uh I had a trip this morning and we got out there and had to fish every bit of 10 to 12 piles before I seen any fish that was worth dropping on. Now, small fish are everywhere, if that's what you want to catch. But you know that when you have live scope, you want to see that big old blob that you're gonna drop on the target. If you're gonna put that work in, it might as well be a good fish that you're dropping on. And even when I did find them, we still had to move around it quite a bit. I mean, which we usually always have to do on Lake Houston. Do a lot of moving, and but we did find some piles that had 5 or 6 really good fish that participated really well. But it was a really tough day today. Uh, I had clients that this was their very first time crappie fishing. Uh, and when you have that rod in somebody else's hand, it becomes a bigger challenge of getting fish in the boat. You see that rod take that good dip from them thumping that jig, and there ain't a hook set, so that makes it even tougher. But that's all part of my life now. I'm full time guiding, and it's things that we have to deal with. They still end up with a really nice sack of fish, but oh man.
Hey, how's it going, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Well, I could. Oh, you look like you're having a little lag over there, though. But I can hear you. Local Life Outdoors, watching and supporting from South Carolina. We do appreciate you, brother. Thanks for joining us. William Rock. Give a shout out to most of the people that
Oh,
I've
there.
been just. Yeah, you're a lot better now.
Yeah, I lost it for a second.
Yeah. DJ Cool, T Wheel, Bending Ballistics, Miss Stephanie, Ford. And of course, everybody know I got to give the man a shout out. Old Super Dave is back with us, dropping the links as usual.
Yep.
Really do appreciate you, brother. JR is in the house.
JR, what's happening, man?
Ford, Squiddo. Who else we got here? Sid, Fred, Slick, Murdoch. Thank you guys for joining us.
Major Brown. Hey, Major, I was waiting for your call. I didn't get it last weekend.
Yeah, Major, I told him that you was gonna hit him up.
Yeah.
JR, what happened to you today, man? You
Hey,
disappeared
JR.
quick. JR must have knocked the limit down really quick today, this
Uh-oh.
morning. He disappeared off the lake. C and B, what's going on, man?
C and B.
He said you got to hit them. So that's something that I have a lot of my clients mess with because that's my way of telling them to set the hook. I'll say hit him. Tell them to set that hook. I
JLG
had
Fishing. What's up, man?
I had a client the other day. I went and he just got live scope, so I went to check out his boat to see, make sure he had everything that he was going to need for the install. And that's the main thing that he was talking about. Hit him. You can probably hear that about all over the lake when I see they get a hit and hadn't set the hook. Todd, Chuck, Crappie Tamer. I'll pay in the house. Tim, what's up, Chuck?
Chuck, what's up?
Murdoch said he caught 80 fish last time out, kept 3. Pretty much the same
Man,
story with a few people I talked to.
man, that ratio ain't that good.
Now, but the thing is, if you have live scope though, it's all about, it's fun catching them all. Don't get me wrong. But if
Leave it there, Ray.
I won't drop links, but would love for everyone to spread the word of fishing. That's right, William. MLW Fishing. How you? But that's my thing, man. I practice. I do a few practice fish when I see that my clients are struggling, with setting the hook. I'll put them on a couple small fish just to get them used to that thump, because the smaller fish really usually thump a lot harder than the bigger fish. But you can tell if you look at that jig, if you look at your jig, you can tell the size of the fish you're dropping on just by
Oh,
a reference of the jig size.
you drop your jig and the fish is a little bigger, you know something wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially when your jig is 1.75 inches.
Yeah.
Yep. Local Life said the crappie bite is getting hot here in South Carolina. Caught the limit the last 3 trips. Well,
That's good,
congratulations, man.
What lake? He's probably fishing Santee Cooper, maybe.
South Carolina. JR says the Vietnam veteran I took out leg started hurting, so we called it a day. Okay. I just know you
Okay.
disappeared quick, so. Major Brown said that his wife had him hemmed up. South Fork Ranch in Dallas.
Okay.
Try to catch it in Grenada. Okay. Well.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see.
Yep. I wish you were a little closer. Would love to fish with you one day.
Hey,
if
it's
you ever
all it
make
is, an airplane.
Yep. You ever
Depends
make the
how
trip?
far.
You ever make the trip? Hit me up. How's that pollen affecting everybody? Man, I'm gonna tell you, it finally caught up to me, and I got a little scratchy throat, so I'll be sipping water throughout the show, just so I hopefully won't be coughing. But it's just the itchy throat that I have. How bad is the pollen up there for y'all, Steve?
Shoot, I ain't fishing so long. I don't know what pollen is. My trailer's still down.
Yeah.
Yeah, going on 2 weeks. This is second week, and I don't know. I talked to the guy yesterday. He told me Friday would be on the welding table. And he goes, "Oh, it's gonna go next." I'm like, once they get to me, it's tough.
Yep.
And then they got other stuff going on, which I understand.
Right. I agree.
But in the long run, it's going to be better.
Yeah. Yeah, Murdoch, we passed over every bit of 12 piles this morning in about 5 different areas on top of that. So it can be tough. And it's like I say, that's the reason why I don't like the spawn, man, because they, you be on fish in one area one day. Sometimes they'll be there 3 or 4 days. And then all of a sudden, bam, just a snap of a finger, they're gone. Hey, man, you change rooms.
Yeah, I was playing with the background.
J Dub says, good evening, guys. SK, thanks for crappie tips. YouTube. I went out today and caught the limit. Sardis, that's what's up. When it hit them on Sardis. Well, we got a special guest tonight, y'all. This guy need to come to Texas and learn how to catch some crappie. Come on.
I need to put some jigs on the background.
There you go. Fahim's in the house. What's going on, man? What's going on, dude?
What's up, guys?
Oh, not a whole lot.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, Steve?
Good to have you back.
What's up, man?
Appreciate it. Yeah, glad to be here.
Background.
That's what's up, man. You've been doing some traveling over there.
Yes, sir.
That's what's up. Been doing pretty good too. That's awesome, man.
Yes, sir. We've been trying to give it our best shot.
That's all you can do, and have fun while you're doing it.
Learn, learning's the number one I like.
Yeah,
Just little minor things you pick up along the way.
that's right.
Yep.
Well,
Hopefully you pick them up earlier than later, Yeah.
well, when you're fishing the trail that all the trails that you're on, you're fishing against some good sticks,
Yep.
because but you're still ranking up there at the top.
Yep.
Yep.
A lot of guys fish those tournaments, and their names, they may make three, but it's from the bottom. They may make
Yeah.
third, but it's from the bottom.
Yeah. We've had a good run so far, and I hope it continues.
Yeah.
So I think there's some little things that we feel like we need to work on.
Yeah.
There's the littlest thing is the difference in one or two. Winning and getting beat by 8 people.
That's right. That's right.
So there's so many little things that just make a big difference.
That's right. And another thing too, you can be in an area and be off 2, maybe 3 foot depth and not even catch fish.
Yep.
But you're right there. But that's what makes crappie fishing so great, man. I mean, it's when you do figure them out, man, it's just awesome.
Well, and I think and I may have told Steve this, when we went to Grenada last year, these fish were up. We fished 5, 6, 7 feet of water. These fish were up. They were suspended. When I went to Grenada this year and we got there my first day to fish was on Wednesday, I had my trolling motor on 10. I'm blowing around looking for these fish just like last year. And I spent the entire day. I caught a 185 fish on Grenada all day on Thursday or Wednesday.
Wow.
So I knew, I'm beating myself up that night trying to figure out what am I doing so wrong. And I did already gather that the quality wasn't there as good as it was last year. But I'm going, how do you go to Grenada and catch a 185 fish? And I ended up Thursday afternoon late catching a fish on the bottom, which I wasn't looking for fish on the bottom. And long story short, that's what we ended up honing in on. And I think that was one of our stronger points on this tournament was we keyed in on fish on the bottom. And a lot of people, I believe, were missing those fish. I don't believe they were seeing them. Last year we went, fish weren't on structure. They were just out roaming. And almost every fish we caught was on some type of a little bitty. It might have been a 6-inch stick up, but they were typically on something. There was a couple that weren't, but for the most part, we found a lot of our fish on structure. And that's something that I feel like it takes. It's just the littlest thing like that. People are blowing around looking for these fish up. They were blowing over the fish that were laying right on bottom.
Yep. And that's another thing too that I've been seeing here is you will catch one fish suspended. The next fish comes off the bottom. That next fish comes off the top of a brush pile. That next fish comes off the up under a limb on a brush pile. I mean, you can't find a pattern that from what on my lake, you can't find a pattern right now.
No, and I think right now, especially as these fish move up, I fished Lake Fork this afternoon for 3 hours.
Oh, really?
We're fishing cat, this weekend, and we're just trying to get a little. I haven't fished Fork. I went yesterday afternoon and this afternoon. Because obviously tomorrow and Friday are supposed to be horrible weather days.
Right, exactly.
And I fished from 25, 30 feet of water to 8 feet of water. And, I think the shallower you get, the more you're looking for those fish on the bottom. And it's, today I fished 8, 10, 12 feet of water. And I will say I didn't feel like that was my best fish overall. I don't personally think the big ones have moved up yet. That's my
the water
perspective.
temp.
I don't think. I mean, you could go to 8 feet of water and I could catch 14 pounds,
Oh,
but
okay.
we're looking for 16, 17.
Right. What was the water temp over there?
I want to say it was around 61 or 62.
Wow.
So, but that's all about the change,
Yeah.
and because they're calling for a freeze. I know close to freezing Friday night, and they're calling for a freeze Sunday morning. So, what I'm saying is, like, I feel like in the more as we progress with live scope and everything, we continue to catch. There is a lot of those big fish that just lay right on the bottom.
Right.
And you might be even 15, 20 feet of water, but there's a lot of those fish that won't suspend.
Right.
And you got to be looking at those trees and the base of those trees and stobs for those fish.
Yep. That's what's up. I've been telling some guys, man, we got another cold front coming. We got another really cold front coming because I've been seeing, the fish down here. I've been catching them out to 16-foot deep, and most of the fish that are still deep are the ones that are really bulging with eggs. And I'm not saying that they all go shallow at the same time by no means, but just the number of fish that I'm still catching really deep is I already knew that there was going to be a cold front coming sooner or later. The animals know, they know way more than we know about the weather.
Yep.
And just me seeing how few people were catching fish shallow, I knew that. And we've had surface water temp up to 75 degrees already.
Yeah.
But today is back down to the 64.
Yeah. Because it was 40, 42 here this morning when I left the house.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It was 48 this morning when I left.
Man.
So that cooled it off a little bit.
Yep.
But yeah, I think Grenada, it was mid 60s. Those fish are pushing up there. We caught fish there. We never really fished much over 5 or 6 feet there.
Oh wow.
We caught fish at as shallow as 2.5 feet.
Man, that makes it tough to read those fish on live scope.
Hey, it is. Hey, you don't just get there and become an expert reading live scope in 3 feet of water.
No, not nowhere near. I'm gonna tell you now. I've tried it, and it's tough.
Yeah, I had to raise my trolling motor up. I clicked up my transducer a little bit. Just so you weren't burning the ground.
Right.
And obviously, I heard you talking about pollen. That was something that it wasn't horrible on Grenada. It was bad when we fished Merval.
Huh.
A couple weeks ago, pollen was real bad. When we pre-fished the afternoon before, it was rough. I guess that the waves had it all stirred up, and it was bad. The image was horrible. Now last year, 2 years ago, I wouldn't have known that was pollen. I'd probably still be out there messing with my graph, trying to figure out what was going on there. I'd have been through 4 transducers through Garmin, and but we knew what was happening. The next day, it was glass. We still had to work through the pollen, but it wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
So, but I know I got home from Grenada. My car, my white Toyota Camry, was yellow and gold color.
Man.
From all the pollen.
Wow.
So,
how's the lake level on Fork now? Pretty good. Yeah.
I think last I looked, it was just down 1.6, I think.
Oh man, that's good. Especially after being down 8 foot for a while.
Oh yeah, I think you can just about put it anywhere, and it was to me the lake's in a lot better shape.
Yeah.
Let's see, I'm looking right now. 1.7.
Oh, okay, that's good.
It's 1.7 low.
Yep.
But you can't see near as many stumps.
Right.
Yeah, that make a big difference.
I think that 1.7 will help, though. There's so many of them right now that are just right at the top of the water.
Right.
If you can put another 1.7 feet on top of that, I I think it'll make fishing a little bit better.
Yeah.
At least for getting around is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Yeah. Not hitting as much.
Yep. I seen Kevin Rogers. I guess he knocked his little unit off today. It may have been yesterday. I just seen his post a while ago. Yeah, on Facebook. It was getting towed in. Say he had hit a stump. I didn't pay attention to what lake he was on, but man, it makes that right there in itself is a beast when it comes to fishing lakes that you're just not really used to.
There was a guy hit a stump. His motor came off his jack plate and landed right behind him.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Michael says he's going to buy me one of those safety harness deals for Christmas.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they're called, but you know what?
Yeah.
Or motor leash or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what they cost. I never priced it, but it's.
I think he said they're $300.
Oh wow! You can probably fab something yourself, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not really looked into them, but I don't know how often that happens. But you never know.
Yep.
Local life. Most of the lakes here, the limit is 25. 10 and up and 25. And Super Dave in North Carolina, they don't have limits. They just can get tired of filleting fish.
Man, we need to move over there. I wonder if there's a size limit or just a number limit.
That's a good question. I'm not real sure.
Yeah.
That's a good question. For those of us that don't know, what is a 185-ish fish? It's a fish that weighs 1.85 pounds.
Yeah.
Just under 2 pounds.
Yeah.
9-inch limit here. Okay.
Okay.
That's my favorite eating fish.
Yeah. Get it nice and crispy.
Yep.
Stephanie says 15 per person.
Yeah.
Question: with structure, did it make a difference in drop or size? Drop shot. I'm not real sure what he's asking.
Size of bait, maybe. I'm thinking. Oh, maybe the
split shot.
Drop rate, maybe.
Huh. You got to rephrase that one, William. Slab B, what's going on, my man? Says 30 per person.
What state's he in, you know?
Huh? Alabama, I want to say.
Okay.
I get mixed up every time. I think it's Alabama. Yeah, he's from the state that Richard Jean's from.
Oh, okay.
Want to be outdoors.
So were them fish on Grenada pretty aggressive, or you had to really work at them, or?
Pre-fishing, they were aggressive. I think on Friday we had one fish that we couldn't catch.
Oh, okay.
On Saturday we had about 12 to 15 fish that we couldn't catch.
Man,
that was a big difference for us. If we could have got, we keened in on what we were looking for, but the bite, and I even read a lot of things that mentioned the bite on Grenada on Saturday. We had a front blow in, strong wind, got cold. Not cold like last year, but
yes,
a lot of people said last year. I read a lot of stories of people zeroing on not necessarily in the tournament, but just in general on Facebook on Grenada on Saturday.
Wow.
But we did. And my deal is, I think we were targeting the wrong fish. We didn't know it at the time. I believe we were targeting fish that would not bite, but in the short amount of time that we pre-fished, and then obviously the bite was good on Friday.
Right.
we discovered that most of the time those fish on timber like that were not wanting to bite. If it was little, he would bite. If it was 1.5 pounds, 160 fish, they would bite all day long. But if it was a 250 plus fish, and we dropped on 3 fish on Saturday that we felt like were over 3 pounds. One, Michael was like, that fish has got to be 350. And they wouldn't even look at a bait.
Man.
We bought some minnows at the store that morning, and we had tried minnows. We tried little baits, we tried big baits. It's just either the fish was going to eat or he wasn't going to eat.
Right.
I don't think any of it had any relevancy on what they were going to eat. But we even bought some minnows. We tried minnows, and there was one fish, Michael. We had like a 5-inch minnow in our bucket, and Michael put a hook through his back and put it on the fish. It actually ended up spooking the fish, but he wasn't going to bite anyways.
Yeah.
We were just trying. When we had a giant minnow in our bucket, and we just put it on the fish to see, because they're eating gizzard shad, 5-6 inch gizzard shad.
Right.
I mean, we caught one of the bigger fish we caught. I mean, it had the forked tail of the gizzard shad still sticking out its throat.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
yeah, Torque fishes Conroe, and he said he's
Okay.
starting to see. I mentioned that 2 weeks ago that I've been seeing some females that are spawned out, and we're still catching some. So it's the spawn is on its way, but it's just that I see a lot of big females that know something's not right, or know that time's not right.
Right.
yeah, because I think it was over a month ago that we were on Conroe SK, and
Right.
I mean, water temperature was 65 degrees down there,
Yep.
and we were catching fish in 7-8 feet of water.
Right.
Yep.
So that told me right then they were moving up.
Right.
At least
Right.
a wave of them was,
Yep.
What's going on, Damien? Thanks for joining us, brother. Stephanie says 43 in where's she from?
Illinois, I think.
I think so, yes. I think southern Illinois.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what SI, Southern Illinois.
Yeah. Put the live scope down. It was bad. Spent 30 minutes adjusting it. Wow. Just lower that game. Hey, that's something that I'd like to hear from you, Travis. When you do run into a situation where that pollen is bad, what's your strategy to overcome that?
I think the 34 is better in pollen than the 32
Really?
overall.
Uh-huh.
I think the 34 takes less adjusting, and I mean that just across the board, not just pollen. I believe Michael turned up the color limit.
Uh-huh.
He was adjusting more than I was. I believe he turned up the color limit and turned the gain down.
Okay.
So that way we kind of filtered out some of that bright.
Right.
And then, we more so dulled the picture.
Right.
Right.
But you got to be careful because those crappie on Grenada, especially, those crappie almost look like the big ones. They almost look like a school of shad.
Right.
Wow.
They were real dotted. You would see a pound and a half fish, that fish would pop like a basketball. But when you would get those big ones, you don't get that hard return off of that fish.
Right.
So there's a fine line between taking too much color out,
right,
and then not having enough to where you're clearing up your picture.
Right. I was just telling Steve about that the other day, that I've been seeing some bigger fish, but they were so faint on my live scope.
Big fish don't pop.
Yeah.
Big fish don't pop.
And I noticed that it looks like it's 2 or 3 fish in a blob. It's like it's not one solid object. It's like I don't know what the word for it. It's like fragmented.
Right.
That fishes. Yep. And I don't know what it is, but big fish do that. I don't know why.
Even on Grenada this weekend.
Yep.
They have, and even something like on Conroe, those fish did not pop. The bigger fish. Mm-hmm. But on Grenada was the worst I had ever seen it as far as big fish not popping.
Yeah.
It was they were extremely dull, almost to the point where you could see the silhouette of the fish, but they look like almost like I said, like a schools of shad. You know how they're just, little bitty dots, and you got to make out that fish out of those dots. And then every now and then you'll get a right turn on him where he'll kind of pop like a little, but nothing like a 1.5-pound fish.
Right.
And I don't know if that's just they have more meat on them, and they don't get that harder return. I honestly, I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's something to do with their gut being softer, if their scales end up being a little bit softer as they grow, and maybe they're just not as hard as a small fish. I really don't know what's causing that.
Me and Steve was just talking about that. I mean, what was that? 2 weeks ago, Steve? Maybe
2 weeks ago. Yeah. Another thing I noticed is when that fish spooks, chasing them, it's a lot harder because you can hardly see them versus the other fish.
Oh, Grenada was tough this weekend. Yeah. There was a lot of people that I know several people I talked to. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many fish we lost.
Yeah,
chasing them. I mean, because you had to be on that fish. It was so precise, and then you would lose him, and then you'd roll up here. I mean, and then you'd think you didn't have him, and then you're like, oh, hold on, there he is. I mean, it was very hard to chase a Roman fish on Grenada this week, not because they were spooky, just because of the image.
Right. Yeah, but I agree with you on that. Not to change subjects, but to sort of help with that pollen. That's what I've been doing too. Even though I'm running the 32, I've been lowering my gain just a little bit. But I'll tell you this, man. Just like you're saying, if you got to chase a big fish and they turn away and going away from you, you almost can hang it up. You could almost hang it up, man, because they are so hard to see. It's unreal. It is really unreal.
On Grenada this past week, you're chasing fish in 3 and 4 feet of water. So,
right. And that makes it even worse.
That makes it even worse.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. Yeah, that's a challenge all in itself.
Yep. But I mean, it was a great experience. And, you gotta learn. I think every little thing you do, you've got to learn from it and remember that. Right. And, even before I went to Grenada last February, I had never live scoped in less than probably 10 feet of water.
Yeah.
A year ago, and it's all just a learning experience.
Right.
And I'll tell you, I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah. I don't like it either.
I prefer really at least nothing less than 10,
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to be where they're at,
Yeah, I think you get the better reading from about 10 to about 15 feet of water.
Yep.
You get the best reading on live scope.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Black Smoke says he don't have to chase fish. They find his hook. I guess I needed him in the boat at Grenada then.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people saying the fish wouldn't bite at the weigh-in. They saw a lot of fish, but they weren't on Saturday.
Yeah, and we had that trouble.
Yep.
And I heard a lot of people. I mean, in line as we were talking to everybody, there was a lot of people that just flat didn't see them.
Right.
And it was
I've seen that too. Yeah.
Man, we saw so many more big fish on Saturday than we saw on Friday. We just couldn't capitalize on all of them.
Right.
I can't. I mean, you could reach down there and hit him with your rod tip, but you couldn't make them bite.
Yeah.
I mean, you felt like you could have just reached out the trolling motor and reached down the water and grabbed him.
Right. Were they real spooky or not really?
No. If they were on timber, they would sit there forever.
Right.
I mean, we'd put 3 or 4 different baits on a fish.
Right. Okay.
Now, it never made a difference one time.
Right.
But
yeah, I've seen some guys out on the lake today, and we usually, if we're passing one another, we hold up, and or some guys are just they'll do the hand like that, man. I mean, it's just today was a tough day, And have you been seeing? Y'all been seeing any? Well, Steve, I know you haven't. You hadn't even been fishing.
Yeah, my boat trailer's dead.
Yeah, any of the lakes you've been on, Travis? Have you seen any thermocline yet?
I haven't.
It's coming.
I probably haven't been deep enough to see any thermocline.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I was shallow today. I really haven't fished. I went to Fork yesterday and I stayed pretty shallow. I got out a little bit, I guess. Michael fished a little deeper than I did yesterday. You know, we were both trying to cover some different areas to try to put the best thing we could together.
Oh, wow. 28.
Man. North Carolina.
North Carolina, yeah. Y'all need to come to West Texas to really see
I
how
think we're
jacked
gonna
up
get
fishing
thunderstorms
conditions can be.
tomorrow. I think they said thunderstorms tomorrow.
OTG. Oh, yeah, it's going to be pouring here tomorrow evening.
Yep.
I've heard of some really good lakes in West Texas.
You don't hear that much about West, mostly East.
Yeah, but that when when people do go west, it's some good lakes over there.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. We're running out of time to catch that 3-pounder, and I was gonna go try to catch another 3-pounder today. Yeah, and cool. Michael's like, "Well, I thought it was gonna be too windy to be on a huge lake," and really, I got off work and I was like, "It's not that bad." Michael's like, "Well, I think it's fishable, on Fork, and with Cat coming up this weekend." It was like, "Well, I guess maybe my 3-pounder can wait till Sunday."
Yeah.
But that clock's rolling on them threes. It'll be.
It is. I want to go back after him at least a few more times.
Yeah. That's what's up. Fork is a lake to go to, man. If you're looking for a 3, that thing there just
It's just so much water to cover. That's the, what I mean. That's the worst thing.
Yeah.
There's so much, and then all the timber. It's just you have to fish it slower because otherwise you'll damage your boat.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
I don't want to get in trouble saying nothing here, and I don't think I will, but I know a guy yesterday that caught a 21.5-pound stringer.
Oh wow.
Man.
So yeah, that was a phenomenal day.
Man.
I believe they had 4 fish over 3 pounds. And the other one was he had a couple of 290 fish, and I think then 289 or something like that.
Man, that is crazy. That's Grenada weights right there.
Yeah.
On a good day. I think 22 pounds was the record. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Chuck, so we fished a orange and chartreuse bait. I threw a G Daddy orange and chartreuse bait was what I got the best response. I felt like on a plastic. I don't really think it would matter what you were using, but obviously oranges and golds are good color. And then I also used Steve's bait, a limits tackle. I had a bigger bait and a smaller bait. I used a gold and chartreuse 1/8 ounce hand tie. But
I wonder why, sometimes plastic works and hand ties won't. I'm wondering what the fish see to know the difference.
We felt like we got a better response out of the bigger bait before the sun came up or if it was cloudy. But once it got cloudy, we felt like we got a better response on the gold hand tie.
Okay.
Maybe I don't know why that is. It's just how the fish was reacting.
Yeah. I always wondered, sometimes you'll switch and from a plastic hand tie, same colors, and it'll work better.
Yep. And I know at Grenada, there was people using 3-inch baits. There was people using, as small a hand tie, 1/32 ounce hand ties.
Right. Yep.
I pushed everything around with a 1/4 or a 3/8 weight above it.
Right.
And I on the plastic bait, I used a 1/4 ounce jig head.
Right. Do you think that big weight above it helps, or it's more control helping?
I think you have more control.
Right.
Especially when time is of the essence. But even like last year when we was out there, Steve, those fish were super spooky. You couldn't drop on them. You had to push a bait to them.
Right.
Well, this time you could drop on them. The fish this year, in my mind, they were not near as spooky as they were last year.
Right.
You could get on these fish. You could swim a bait right in front of them with the trolling motor.
Okay.
They would stop and give you. Last year, I felt like they'd only give you about 5 seconds to get a bait on them.
Right.
This year, they might have gave you 30 seconds.
Okay. Yeah.
And if they were on something, we messed with fish for 5 minutes.
Right.
Wow.
So.
Man. You think how you present that bait to that fish matters? From the front, from the back. I don't, a lot of people say
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on the bite. I think if the fish are just firing and they're just eating anything you throw at them, I don't think it matters.
Right.
I
But
agree.
It's when the bite gets finicky is when you're going to notice a difference.
Right.
And I feel like we try our best to hold a bait maybe a little higher above the fish, especially on these lakes. Grenada's different because it's so muddy.
Right.
But on these lakes like Fork, we try to get a reaction out of the fish.
Right. Then
before shoving it in his nose.
Right. Right.
And my personal opinion is, I think, it's kind of like you. If you see something coming at you, it doesn't scare you.
Right.
But if somebody just flies over the back of your head, you're going to be like, holy cow, what was that?
Right. Right.
It's going to scare you.
I think the fish are more aggressive too if it's further away.
Yes. Yes. But I believe that it is better to have that fish see the bait coming at them than it is to try to scare them with it.
Right. More of a natural approach.
Which sometimes is hard to do because they're nose into a tree.
Right, right.
And I mean, and it's a double-edged sword because you don't want to get that bait in a tree on a big fish.
Right.
You got one shot typically to catch that fish. Yeah, you push it to him, you hit the tree, he sees it, bait gets wrapped up in the tree, fish is not going to eat.
Yeah.
And then he's done.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
There's times you're going to catch them, but I promise you're not going to catch all of them because they're not going to eat again.
Yep.
So Major Brown asked if how much moving did you do to different areas during the tournament?
We never cranked the big motor every day until we fished one area both days.
Yeah.
We covered a lot of water on the trolling motor, but we never cranked up the big motor.
How'd your batteries do? Pretty good.
Honestly, I mean, they didn't turn off, so we covered a lot of water, but we weren't running on 10.
Right.
And we had some pretty strong winds, especially on day 2. The wind was worse, which could have affected the bite some. 4 foot of water, and you got a little bit of boat slap.
Right.
That obviously isn't helping. But no, we kept the trolling motor on between 6 and 8, I'd say.
Right.
We felt like if we were fish on timber wouldn't spook, but there was no sense in alerting them more than we felt like we needed to.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
How them crappie breaks work out?
Yeah, they're good. We tried to use them if there was a fish that was roaming, we tried to use them minimally. Just
right.
We didn't want to use them if we did not have to.
Right.
Because there were some when you would hit it, they take back off and make another run, and then you run up on them and hit them, and they take back off.
Wow.
So as long as we were chasing them into the wind, and we didn't have to use the brakes, we didn't. But there was plenty of times that we used them and still caught fish.
Right.
It was just every fish kind of reacted a little different to them.
Right. Yeah, I finally got mine on. I haven't tested it yet.
They're game changers, man.
Yeah. Crappie crane, that's not what we were saying a while ago. I think the 32 and the 34 has an issue with the bigger fish. It just doesn't show them. I mean, you can see them, but they don't pop like the smaller fish do. And that's 34 and 32. They say tournaments are addictive. They are.
Yeah.
Very much so. And expensive.
Yeah.
But it's at least nice to go and get your money back.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Very much so.
And that's like, hey, we went to Grenada. We won a little money. We didn't come home with any money more than we left on, but we got to go to Grenada on about a free trip.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So to me, that's a win in my book.
Yeah. And learned a lot,
Yep.
Build that portfolio.
You learn a lot, being at these places.
Right.
There you go, Dace. That's good work. Hold it to them over there. Said they got some rain and it cleared the pollen up a little bit.
Okay.
Hey,
Squiddo says, Travis, were you on Lake Merval a couple of weeks ago? Yes, you fished Merval, didn't you?
yes.
So what do you
Oh,
think about that lake?
I thought it was a phenomenal lake. Honestly, I'm not gonna say there's not higher numbers of fish in the lake. We probably could have caught 50 fish that day, pretty easy. I think. But it wasn't a lake that we just went and saw hundreds and hundreds of fish. Uh,
Uh-huh.
we passed over small fish that we didn't want to catch. Um, I'm not gonna say it's just has an overabundance of crappie in the lake from the day we fished. But there is no doubt it's got some slabs in there.
Yeah.
And I mean, our biggest fish, 271. I felt like we dropped on a few fish that were bigger than that, and it just didn't work out.
And I tell people, I have clients all the time say, well, why didn't he bite? What did I do wrong? He said, man, I'm gonna tell you something. We're all lucky when we catch a crappie because these can be some of the finickiest fish there are. You can do everything right, have the right color that most other fish are hidden, and you'll get that one fish that you raise up from it or whatever the action is you give it, and he just will not hit it.
Yep. And goes. I said, me and Michael talked earlier today and yesterday. I mean, the bite wasn't a problem on Fork yesterday, but he came across a fish that he felt like was a 3-pounder, and he wouldn't bite.
Yeah.
I mean, and he had caught 40 other crappie,
Yeah.
But I mean, them big ones are smart.
They
Yeah.
are. That's how they got big.
Yep, and it's those big ones don't bite like a 1.5-pound fish does.
Right.
And they just, if the littlest thing, if they sense that something's not right, they're not going to eat it.
Right.
That's right.
And and I think I go back to this, and I know there's situations where it works, and that's that clear bait.
Right.
To me, that clear bait is that's what
agree.
tricks that fish into biting.
Right.
On a lot of those, in that clear water, you wouldn't want to use a clear bait at Grenada.
Right. Right.
But there's a time and a place, and I think that just tricks that fish into biting. Stephanie, I really don't. We did use, I think, some crappie nibbles when we fished Table Rock in October because it was no live bait, no nothing, which we haven't really used minnows. I mean, we used a few at Grenada, but honestly, I haven't been buying minnows or anything. I really don't. I don't. I mean,
tell you what, we had to use them today. I find that if you're on a really tough bite, adding something will help. And I just the nibbles is the cleanest, quickest thing to do. Or if you got some gel or liquid, but sometimes adding sand it helps them hang on to that bait a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I seen the stuff, what they call it, bait pop, is supposed to show better in live scope, and I'm like,
yeah, I don't know about all that.
Yeah, I'm like,
I don't talk down on no fishing products, man. But that just what they got metal.
We joked around with Kobe this weekend. Him and Robert Carlisle were fishing right by me. And I joked around. Kobe's on a messenger ours, and I said, "Man, would y'all quit putting bait pop on these fish because y'all are making these little ones look big."
They must have some stainless steel particles in that stuff.
Yeah.
Stephanie, can't do much worse. I spent too much time in one area.
That's a lot of people say.
What's up, D?
Early, a lot of people will be in the area and they always say at the weigh-in, we should have left earlier. We stayed too long.
Yeah. And what happened is on Grenada, when we fished day one, there was probably 20 boats in the area we fished. It wasn't a big area. On day 2, we got there and there was 40 boats.
Dang.
Wow.
And not that big of an area. Yeah, and I told Michael at about 10, it was probably about 10:30 or 11. I told Michael, I said, Michael, we have to make a move.
Right.
I said, there's so much pressure on these fish. We're not finding the fish that we want. We got 40 boats in here today. All 40 boats are looking for 7 big fish. It's not like they're around every tree.
Right.
When you pan your live scope and there's a big fish. They were few and far between. And I told Michael, I was like, I don't know what we got to do. I said, but we've got to do something. We've got to get away from these boats. And we were actually going to get on the big motor and run back about 1,000 yards and kind of make a run up through this timber where there was less pressure on these fish. And Michael, he had an intuition that we just needed to pull this way on the trolling motor, and which I said was fine. It's like, hey, go that way, man, because I don't care what we do, but we have got to move out of here. And we ended up stumbling across some fish once we got away from most of the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're sharing them fish, actually.
Yes. I mean, we got 40 boats up there looking for 7 big ones.
Yeah.
And then on top of that,
280 fish.
Yeah.
When you got 3 or 4 boats that then passed over a good fish already, he knows that pressure's there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So
I'm telling you, man, the thing going where others don't go will put wins in your pocket. I'm telling you, it's just hands down the truth.
Yeah.
Yep. But I know, like I said, that's the top people were fishing in our area. And I'm not calling it our area. I'm just saying the area we were in.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if day 2, it was just people coming over there because of what had been caught day 1, or if it was people trying to move other areas and get out of the wind. Right. I'm sure it was a combination of both, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But if they see a bent pole, you know what? That's not what they call them, Steve.
Yeah.
Spot buzzards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the thing about Grenada, the thing I learned about Grenada, there's essentially 2 main areas that the fish are caught.
Right.
Yeah.
So if they didn't see everybody in this area on day 1, they know they were in the other area. I mean,
that makes it difficult. That makes it difficult. That's a different scenario than what I like being in.
Yeah, there's a video that Hayden was in, and you can see a bunch of boats in the background, and he's weaving them. He's kind of weaving them. Yeah.
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 Have you fished any tournaments against Hayden yet?
Just Grenada. And the Crappie Expo in October.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think it's going to take to beat that dude, man?
I think experience, knowledge, complete dedication. I think the kid's just an expert at it.
Yeah. Fish clean.
Honestly, he doesn't. He just, I've heard theories of thinking he's doing something this or doing that or his
I don't think so.
Man, honestly, after fishing around him this weekend and seeing fish that I know he's catching, the kid's just good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all there is to it. I
think he's covering so much more water than everybody else. And he is so in tune with that unit.
Yes,
that
he
when
is.
he does see a good fish, he's on it.
Yes. I think, hey, he's in the Ranger boat, the 522. Yeah. He's got 0 boat slap. He's got excellent boat control. He's got a boat that'll just sit there that he's not on the trolling motor.
Yeah.
It all plays into the equation.
Yeah. And his dad is like doing what he needs to do, He's not wasting time.
But there's no doubt in my mind that Hayden probably lives, breathes, and sleeps crappie fishing.
Yeah.
He's just perfected, I feel like, in probably dropping. I mean, I've never fished with him. I'm only speculating. But I feel like he's perfected dropping on that fish right. He's not spending 30 seconds to try to get on that fish. He's instantly dropping and doing what he needs to present a bait to that fish as quick as possible.
Right.
Yeah. You know that one tournament where they had the live cameras in their boats?
Uh-huh.
I seen him make several drops and give action to that jig that would just absolutely spook every single fish that I've ever fished for on my lake.
So
Uh, the
that
the Go ahead.
no, so I think that depends 100% on your water clarity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what Hayden's trying to do is he's trying to get a reaction out of that fish. If you notice when Hayden gives that a little jiggle, I
Uh-huh.
think he's trying to see he's figured out methods to trigger these fish. So that was on the Red River. And they had a super tough bite. And he has figured out that he can present a bait a certain way, see how that fish reacts to the bait from a distance, and then lay it on that fish.
Mm-hmm.
And that's essentially, in my opinion, that's what he was doing.
Yeah. Because if I was, you know, anywhere near the fish that I fish for here and was bobbing that bait like that,
Yeah.
go away.
But
I never thought of it like that. He could have very possibly been, like you said, a foot, maybe 2 foot above that fish.
yes, if you notice, a lot of times when he did that, he would shake it and then lay it down.
Yeah.
And at Grenada, at Fork, there are times at Fork when shaking your bait is a very effective method.
Yeah.
I would say 75% of the year you don't need it. But there's 25% of the other, I can remember last year when I was telling somebody, man, you just put it on that fish and you get it down there, they wouldn't do anything. And all of a sudden you just shake it real hard. And then all of a sudden that fish would bite. And then Jerry Hancock started posting on his guide trips and everything. He goes, man, you got to put it in front of him. You got to shake it. And there's just certain times of the year, I don't know what that does, why it triggers them. It doesn't seem to spook them here on Fork. But I will tell you, Grenada, they didn't like it.
Right.
I shook it at 3 or 4 fish at Grenada and spooked them.
Yeah.
But I mean, they already weren't going to bite.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't like it here either. And for years, even before live scope, I've always felt that the less action you give a jig, the better.
Yes.
But there are times that I'd fish 20 piles and not get bit, looking for those active fish.
Yeah.
And it's like you were saying a while ago, active fish makes it so much easier. But when they
Yes.
get finicky, that's when you got to put those pieces to the puzzle
And
together.
I think as well, to go back to Grenada, I think when he was covering so much water, Hayden keyed in on the type of fish to catch. I'm not going to say he didn't drop on fish like we were dropping on as well, but Hayden keyed in on catching active transitioning fish.
Mm-hmm.
And those fish would bite, and they would bite for us. He covered more water to find more of those fish than we did.
Yep.
Chuck, I like a 13-foot. We used 15s at Grenada, and I will be 100% honest, I don't even felt like we needed them. I felt like we could have caught every fish we caught on a 13-foot. Now, last year when we went, I would have told you a complete different story. Give me an 18.
Right.
But the fish just weren't as spooky this year. And actually, I fished with a 15 all 4 days last week, and actually yesterday when I went to Fork, because I still had one laying on the deck of my boat. But today I went back to 13.
Right.
You on YouTube, Travis?
No.
Okay. Grenada's a lake I had never fished either. I'd love to. Hopefully coming soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was pretty sure. Yeah, the next one. I was pretty sure he was talking about Hayden.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the guy. You can go to his webpage, like Hayden Jeffries Fishing, or there's other videos of him just fishing on Crappie Masters and stuff like that. The dude's dude's good. I mean, there's just no denying it. I mean, the dude's just absolutely whooping on people for the last 6 months.
I explained it like in every sport, you have a Michael Jordan, you have, and just like fishing, you have people that are just excel, it's just how it is. You got people that are geniuses. You got in the fishing community, you get these guys that are like Michael Jordans, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Hey, Jamal,
Yeah, I
Jamal,
don't.
oh,
Yeah, I don't see that.
Hayden's using a 32 as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's something special that he's doing. He's just putting the work in. He's
He's putting the
covering the
work in.
water.
He is
Yeah.
putting the work in, and
Yeah.
he has, he has just perfected every little piece. I feel like of
Yeah,
Right.
crappie fishing.
yeah.
I feel like he understands the crappie, what they're doing. He has perfected a way to put a bait on that
Yeah.
fish that he has found to be very effective
He,
versus just throwing it down there on him.
he put out the other day that when he goes out there, he runs his equipment like he's trying to tear it up to get on the fish.
I believe
He
it. I mean,
said that in a video the other day, a little short clip that he put together. What I do to get on these fish is he don't care about running to a stump,
Right.
at mile an hour on that troll motor. He don't care. He's gonna run it and find those. He's covering water.
Yeah.
yep. And the whole principle is there's obviously the beginner live scoper doesn't need to go out there and put their trolling motor on 10
Right.
and cover water. You've got to get to that level,
Yep.
and I don't know, like I said, for people listening, don't go put your trolling motor on 10 and take off and think you're about to be Hayden Jeffries.
Right.
Because that's not how it works.
You're gonna go swimming.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and you're probably going to end up with a new trolling motor. I mean, there's so much more to it.
It is.
But I think as I run on 10 a lot. I didn't at Grenada though, and he did. I mean, I think I heard the other day he runs 200 amp hour batteries.
Yeah.
It's I don't even know what to say about him, honestly.
Yeah. He a beast at it. He's a beast at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like Steve said, it's just there are people that are going to excel above others.
Yeah.
And I feel like the amount of dedication and the work, the effort that he puts into it is second to none.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, black top with a green belly. And I got a little red flake in the black.
Yeah. That black green a beast.
Yeah.
It works really good here. DC Metro says, how's the bite been? You got to go wet that jig to find out, man. You're going to catch something.
Everywhere I've been except Grenada on Saturday, the bite's been phenomenal.
Yeah. If the wind's not blasting 1,000,000 miles an hour here, man, it's been a good bite.
Yeah. Then I went today. The wind was strong here today as well.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so strong that I didn't feel like I didn't need to be out there, especially with a tournament. We haven't fished a lot on Fork, but the bite was great today on Fork.
Awesome. Y'all give me a minute. I'm going to step away.
How's the boat running? Good?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Boat's running good.
Yep.
Trolling motor's running good. Screens are running good.
You went with the Ultrex?
Yes.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Yep.
You like it a lot better, or?
Oh yeah, I do. And I tell you something that happened to me yesterday, Steve. I was noticing on my rear trolling motors, I was like, something doesn't feel right. I'm not stopping like I should. I flipped one of my trolling motors up and somehow I lost a prop on one of them.
Oh wow.
So I had a spare one already. So I just came when I got home or today before I left, I just popped the prop off that other one and put it on and actually checked the nut on the other side and it was loose too. I probably turned it like 3 or 4 rounds.
I heard something that you should have a couple spares of. I got to find out what it is just to order them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would definitely say
prop,
at least one prop and maybe the pin, as well.
Okay. Yeah.
The prop and the pin and the nut.
And then what about the knurl knob to, when you hold it, when it holds that depth, You have a spare one of them or no?
No, you
No,
talking
it's
about for the trolling
adjusted up
motor?
and down. Yeah.
No, I don't even have that on mine. I just know where I just put it down to.
Okay. Because on mine, when it came, it had two of them. You had the one and then a knob over it, like an extra one.
Yeah, I took that off.
Okay.
And I just didn't want it on there, and I know exactly where they go just from repetition.
Right. Okay.
And
Once you know your depth, yep.
Yep.
And how much below the surface you running them props? Just right below.
I would say, I'd say they're probably a foot, but I've noticed in my boat, I don't run mine straight up and down. I actually leave them tilted back a little bit to where the water doesn't blow straight.
Right.
And I leave them tilted back a little bit, and they don't blow out.
Okay, I heard some people blowing out.
Yeah, so mine will if I put them straight up and down.
Okay.
But if I leave them tilted back just a little bit, they don't blow out.
Okay.
So that's what I do. I think I go back one click. It's one or two clicks. I go back, and instead of forcing the water I think kind of straight or up, it forces the water more downward
on an angle. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Good to know. Yeah, we were just talking about crappie breaks.
Yeah. I was listening for a little bit. I'm gonna go with the single, and I may have it installed tomorrow.
Single.
Yeah.
Trolling motor.
Yeah.
Oh, hey! I fished all day yesterday in the wind with one trolling motor.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't have the power to stop as bad, or as much power, but it worked.
Yeah. Did you have to angle your trolling motor any to make the boat stop straight?
I didn't.
Really?
Nope. I didn't notice with the one trolling motor yesterday. I really didn't notice my boat turning at all.
Oh, wow. That's good to hear.
The only time I've noticed my boat turning is that every now and then, you'll catch a tree and it can turn that trolling motor.
Right.
Yeah.
And you'll know it. I'll go to hit it, my boat will just kick sideways. And it's like, now look back there and, you see one out of whack.
Right. Yeah, I'm going with the 55-pound. And to start, I'm gonna leave that little. I forget the name of that part that you can adjust the speed of the trolling motor.
That actually comes on the top on the head.
Yes, it's actually inside the head, but I took it out of the head, and I'm gonna leave that on until I figure out if I can get away without running it at max speed. I'll just leave that part in there because that's the only way that you can control the speed is with that part on there.
So there is a company though that makes, there is a company though that is making an adjustable dial for those.
Oh, really?
That actually can go in the front of your boat. I know Dan Langston is running it. There is, I don't remember the company name or anything about it, but he can actually adjust because he actually went with 70s, I think. He went with 55s on his heavy Ranger and then bumped up to 70s. And he's got a knob in the front of his boat that he actually has, I don't know if it's just a variable speed or if it's like 1 through 10 or 1 through 5. I really don't know, but he can adjust the thrust.
Yeah. Because to me, it would seem like you want to be able to do that because if it's it depends on how fast you move your boat, but on a low wind day, it seemed like you want it less power, less thrust taking you back.
Yeah. Realistically, I use mine more
on a low wind
when
day?
It's smooth than I do a lot of times when it's wavy, or
you got some resistance.
You've got the resistance already stopping you. But when it's smooth, you have nothing stopping you. And to me, the crappie brakes are so much more effective. And like you said, it may not take 55 pounds. You might only really be using 30.
Right.
But there is no doubt the crappie brakes, in my opinion, are way more effective for smooth water than rough water.
Right. I agree.
So
I agree. About 15 miles an hour, man. It's if the fish are not spooky. That's another big thing.
Yep.
15 mile an hour is a dream to fish in if they're not spooky.
Yes.
Because you got that resistance. You can
Yep.
adjust it, bump that, just constantly bump it to get that distance you want and have that resistance to keep you from blowing past it
But
fish.
I knew, used to, when I first started crappie fishing, I had a pole and all that. And you always wanted some wind blowing because you could never spot lock,
Right.
and now I don't fish that way.
Yeah.
I fish, obviously it's on the trolling motor. And when that lake is glass now, I can just roll up to that fish, tap my rear brakes, and literally just sit there.
Right.
And catch him, So I used to never prefer glass lake days.
Right.
And now
right.
I prefer the lake to be like that.
Right.
Yeah. Cover more water, yes, and search more water are two different things. He see more than most. That's proven. Yeah. If you can scan 300 to 500 feet of structure, you're
Yeah.
not wasting time. Yeah, I don't think he's scanning out that far.
No, but Jamal, you're 100% right. The more crappie you can put in front of your
That's
boat,
right.
Yep.
the better odds you have of coming across a big one.
Yeah. I'll tell you this now: a 16-inch screen, it's hand down, even bigger. It's an advantage over
Yep.
somebody that's using a smaller screen.
It is.
You might not
But it
have
all comes
the
with a price tag.
resolution. You might not have the resolution like the smaller ones, but
Yeah.
it's more productive.
Yeah, the bigger screen you got, the more that you can see. Everything is bigger.
Yeah. And like
Yeah, look at it.
Absolutely.
yeah, right before my trailer went bad, I went to this one lake, and there was schooling crappie, and I was scanning 100 feet to find them schools. And it
Wow.
was no problem. And once I found them, then I would zoom back in. Once I got close.
Yeah. That's what's up.
Yeah, I see a lot of people running 16s now. A lot.
Tim. See, I was on a crappie break. No, I had to go get me a new bottle of water, man. My throat's itchy right now. I don't want to be constantly coughing. What's going on, Camo Joe in the building? Say y'all slacking on them likes. Major says remote variable speed controller for TMs. Yep. Is that what it's called? He may have looked it up. I'm gonna check on that.
I truly don't know.
Yeah.
But I know it is a company that has came out with it, and
Uh-huh.
it was designed for the crappie breaks.
Okay.
Okay.
For the front of your boat to be able to adjust your trolling motor thrust.
Right. That's pretty cool. There's some smart people out there make some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
If you look at everything, you'll be like, man. Then you have 10 different versions of it.
I don't fish any tidal water, but right beneath the dam of the lake that I fish a lot has the tides do affect it. And one thing I will tell you, I talked to a guy that fished down there a lot the other day. He was up on top and was at the cleaning station while I was filleting fish. He was telling me that he feel that the fish that are the freshwater fish that are introduced to some salt water, he said that the flavor was better. I'm not for sure if that's true, but that's what he was telling me. David, what's going on, my man? Here's somebody else. Oh, this is Jamal still talking about the LV 62.
I know at one point in time I heard something on the 62 that it was designed more for like saltwater.
Saltwater, yeah.
And looking like that in that depth.
Yeah, but that's not forward. That's down.
That's down view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damien says 522 is a heavy boat. He's going to be the next Ronnie Caps.
Yeah. And actually, I told my wife a couple nights ago, I said, you don't see those boats come for sale very often.
You don't.
But, and obviously because they're a 20-year-old boat.
Right.
I may be wrong, but I think they were developed from like 99, and it's to 04 or 07. I really can't remember. But
04.
04, I think. Yeah.
04. Yeah.
Yeah. And but I told her if I came across one and the deal was right and everything, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah. I see them in the 20s, before, the COVID prices, they were probably in the high teens,
Yeah.
just everything's more money now.
But you don't see that 522 come available very often.
Now
that VX single console, that's the one I like.
It's the VX. That's the one I would want. I wouldn't want the DVX.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guys that got them, they know what they got.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which direction do you have your crappie brake turned? So are you referring to, am I running it in forward, or do I actually have it wired in reverse polarity to where I'm spinning the prop backwards?
I think that's what he's asking.
He means position. The prop toward the boat.
So, because mine is ran regular 12-volt positive negative. My trolling motor, the actual blade of the trolling motor is the leading edge.
Okay, so it faces the front of your boat.
It faces towards the front of the boat.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I have heard of people wiring them like a reverse polarity, where the head can be where it doesn't lead with the blade,
right?
But the prop spins backwards.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try it.
That's not how mine are. So
yeah, I'm gonna try that.
You would think for structure, it would be better because you're leading with a sharp.
Right.
It would deflect the trolling motor a little better versus a blunt object that it's hitting.
Right.
Slab B said, "Ray, he's past Capsicum."
Oh man. Yeah, he's something else.
There you go, Wayne.
Anyway,
yeah, Slab. I agree, man. That boat is just it's a beast.
Yeah.
What is oh man, I forget his name. The guy that runs he guides too. You fish with him. He spider rigs a lot. That's is that the big boy that he's fishing out of? Steve?
Warren Cotton?
Warren Cotton, yeah.
No, he don't have a 522.
He's fishing out of a Ranger, but it's not a 522.
20-footer. I think it's 20-footer.
Yeah, 20 or 21.
Okay.
Yeah, like a Z20 or something.
He brags on those Rangers a lot.
Yeah. His is probably 5-6 years later model. Maybe a 2010-ish. But yeah, they have the 3 pedestals up front.
But I'm gonna tell you something, guys. This guy right here, he has a really good chance because y'all listen to people, and Travis got very good intel on chasing these fish. He's hard headed than I am. Sounds like. So I know that he has a really good chance every time he fishes against Hayden to take that lead.
Hey, I don't know about that, but we're gonna try.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the other day I watched a video. It was one of the first times I seen a screen, but it was only like for 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, I think he just does that for, to just keep the suspicion alive.
Exactly, and we can get back on this for a second, but I think he may have some little tweak settings that he has developed. That maybe he doesn't want everybody to see. But I truly don't believe he has anything special that the average person couldn't figure out with time.
Right.
Darian. Tourney, hit your jig pretty hard, or did you just feel it? No, most of those big fish, they don't hit that hard. They don't have to. They just like suck in the bait.
Yep.
There is no thump. You just kind of feel them on there.
Yeah, they're not scared of that bait. The little fish, they gonna knock fire from it because they want to kill it so it don't hurt them.
Yep.
But those big fish know that bait's not gonna. That's my opinion of it.
No, absolutely. And even on like just Lake Fork, those big fish, when you're the only difference in Lake Fork is a lot of times you're pulling a bait up. You're making that fish chase it.
Exactly.
Grenada, you don't make the fish chase it. You just give him enough room to get turned on the bait and let him come up to it. But even at Fork, when you're raising on those fish, it just starts to get heavy.
Right.
And as soon as it gets heavy, you're setting the hook. You're not feeling for a thump or nothing.
Yeah. I agree. That questions me, answers like that is what tells me the direction you're heading. That's what tells me the direction you're heading. That's why you do so well in those tournaments. Look at boy, I ain't talking about how long it take me to grow them sideburns. Who would come up with that? Well, Steve got some too now.
And I gotta get a haircut. I ain't got a haircut in a while. I'm on retirement time. One more month. I am done working.
Yeah. Be fishing from here on out.
Oh yeah.
Haven't got
I haven't got a trailer.
Yeah, they'll still, I'm gonna tell you something, man. Boat control is a beast.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like I was telling my clients today. They would take, they just let that jig just barely come down. No, drop it fast, and then you stop it right above that fish.
Yeah.
Because you got seconds.
Yep.
To get that bait down there and present it to that fish right. And the boat's moving, the fish is going to move. There's so many things that changes that position to where you get that right time that towards that fish is in that target range, towards you can drop on it. And I can't ask them, hey, move your rod to the right, pull it to you, push it out. I mean, that's just not an option a lot of times when I'm guiding. So I push, not even when I'm fishing by myself, I push myself to get that jig there right now.
Yes. And I try to do the same thing. Like if I'm running a guide trip or something here on Fork 2, it just eats me alive sometimes when it's like drop.
Exactly.
Drop.
Yeah.
Let it go. And I look over there, they're like, well, it's dropping. I'm like, no, you got to let your hand off the string.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a good fish and he's already moving or something. And you're, it's like, man, you're 12 feet above the fish, bud. Let some line out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
But I'll tell you what, guiding helps you with boat control because I'm gonna tell you, most of the clients that I'm with really make you work hard to keep that, that fish in that target range.
Yep. And I just do it on this. I just do it on the side a little bit here and there. Yeah. Like I said, I don't advertise. I help some of these guys. I'm actually helping Jerry run a trip next week, 2 days.
That's what's up. And if you got boat control, to me, in my opinion, if you got boat control, you're gonna do very well with live scope. The boat control is the number one thing.
Yes.
I feel that you can use the wrong bait, you can use the wrong rod, you can use a lot of wrong things, but that boat control, it has to be right.
It's like your foundation.
Exactly. Yep. To do what he does, I couldn't catch that many if I could catch them. Billy the Kid is dangerous.
Well, I mean, that goes back to the 8 slab buster. That goes back to the ACT deal. The guy was fishing against some of the best guys in the country. I think on Grenada, he caught almost 400 crappie.
Yeah.
The next person to him only had like 220 or 200. I mean, he caught twice as many fish as the closest guy to him.
Yeah.
How did you like that tourney setup like that?
I think they thought it was going to give people like level the playing field a little bit, and all Hayden did is dominate it.
Yeah. But I like it though. I mean that format was awesome.
Yeah, I think it's it's something different.
Yep.
It's definitely something different. But I know now they've changed it.
Yeah.
Again.
Again. And honestly, I don't even know exactly what the new regulations are.
Every 2 hours they got to come in and weigh a big fish, and like
I do know Hayden made a comment that he would not be fishing any more of them.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes, he did. I'm pretty sure he holds true to that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, in that format, if you gotta go, if you win a fish every couple hours, they gonna need a gas station on the lake.
Yep. And then
For
people
some
are
of
going
the
to be
guys.
driving like crazy. You know what I mean? It's kind of
Yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah. I don't like that.
Yeah, but my personal opinion was they kind of did it just to.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
I mean, I think I know the next one's supposed to be on Hayden's home lake or Ross Barnett.
Right.
Oh really?
I mean, shit, it wouldn't surprise me if 10 people didn't show up.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
how you gonna go beat Hayden on his home lake?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But hey Chuck, all my rods are equipped with braid, but it depends on the water that I'm fishing and what I'm doing is if I'm running a fluorocarbon leader. Not Grenada. I did run a fluorocarbon leader on my 1/8 ounce jig because I had a 3/8 weight above it. And if you run a jig, this is my opinion. If you run a lighter jig than your weight, you'll get a lot less tangled up if you run a fluorocarbon leader. I can't stand my braid wrapping up.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are certain lakes I have felt like I've got more bites with the fluorocarbon leader. But a lot of times, depending on the situation, if I'm running a quarter jig, and I'm running a quarter above it, I'll just run braid because I know it's not going to tangle.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm running a quarter above or a 3/8, a lot of times if I'm running a smaller jig, I'm running a 3/8 tungsten above it. Because like SK said, I want to get on the fish.
Right.
I'm not trying to finesse to get it down there. I want to get a bait on the fish.
Right.
And if you've got a 3/8 weight above a 16th ounce jig on braid, you're gonna spend a lot of time untangling it.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna finally drop on that big fish you need, and you're gonna see one glob.
One dot.
Yeah.
One dot.
And I don't like that. So
what pound test fluoro are you using? 12,
15.
14?
I use the Sea Gear 15.
Okay, Cigar. Yep. I like that stuff.
So Wayne asked, why do people fish on the bridges? Because it's structure.
Structure and shade.
Yeah.
That's right. Slappy said he'd be done. He'd be dead.
Yeah. That ain't no doubt. I ain't never caught fish like that. I've never caught 200 crappie in a day.
No.
Yeah, I noticed. I haven't seen Ronnie Caps out there. I seen Steve Coleman out there, but I haven't seen Ronnie in a while.
Yep.
I think he
That's
broke his
awesome,
arm
man.
a little while ago, but I thought it'd be healed by now.
So is Grenada the next Tourney Lake for you, Travis?
That'd be this weekend, Lake Fork.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just
Oh,
got
Fork.
done with Grenada, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm
The next 4 weekends, we're on Lake Fork.
Oh wow. Different trails?
Different trails. Yeah. Well, so this
Wow.
weekend's Cat. Next weekend is Crappie Fest.
Right.
So that's obviously not a 7 fish tournament or a trail, but it's a 1 fish, big fish tournament.
Yeah.
And then the next weekend is Crappie Masters. And the next weekend is Crappie Masters East Texas Trail.
Oh, okay.
So 4 Saturdays in a row, Lake Fork.
Well, we know you gonna spank them boys in that East Texas Trail. That's automatic.
I don't know, man. There's some good guys fishing.
Go Travis,
No.
Travis, you got it.
No, there's some good guys fishing it, man. And Lake Fork, that's the thing about Lake Fork. Lake Fork is not a hard lake to fish.
Yeah.
You can catch big crappie. I think you could just blindfold and drop a pin on Lake Fork and say, here's where I'm going, and you could go there tomorrow and catch 2-pounders.
Yeah.
So you just never know. The right person, get on the right pattern, pull up to the right tree with 3 250 fish in it, and next thing you know, they're in the money.
Right. I always tell people that the guys on Lake Fork, they got it super easy. I want to fish Fork, Steve? I think twice, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Lake Fork right now is, if you were a guide,
Yeah.
as long as weather conditions were good, Lake Fork
Mm-hmm.
right now is just fishing plumb stupid.
Right. Right. I hear people always talk about, oh, they pounding this lake. They're going to kill this lake. But, man, Fork proves it, man. How many guys you think hit that lake?
Well, I mean, I know there's probably close to at least 10 or 12 that run a day crappie trips.
Uh-huh.
Um, but at the same time, I think what helps Fork is you get some of these other lakes like Grenada. These fish at Grenada, they pushed into 2 areas. At Lake Fork, they have a ton of areas
Right.
that they can push into.
Some that probably is not accessible.
Correct. Lake Fork, you have fish that stay down by the dam. They could go up in Cheney. You've got the east arm, you've got the west arm, you've got all kinds of coves with river systems coming into all of those. These fish don't just go to the north end of the lake and ball up.
Yeah.
And I think that's what also helps Fork is just the sheer number of crappie the lake has spread out over 20,000 acres.
Right. I agree.
Yep.
That's just like my little old Lake Houston. We got an East Fork, we got a West Fork. We got a couple of creeks that feed the lake, and I try to spend time in each of them, even fishing mid lake down, south end,
Yep.
and it helps.
Yeah.
It really does help, and it feeds the topic of fish over the entire lake. In a system that's like that, fish don't travel to in my opinion, they don't travel far to go, because I can go down south and get on certain shorelines with structure, and those fish spawn very well even deep south. I can go to the West Fork, they spawn over there. Go to the East Fork, they spawn in there. Go in Lucy's Bayou,
Yep.
they spawn over there.
Yeah.
Go mid lake, you find fish that spawn all over this lake. And unlike, what's the name of that lake you said that they go to two areas? Grenada, I believe you
Yeah,
said.
That's Grenada. That lake is kind of known for those fish funneling to 2 areas.
Yeah.
Does it have any rivers or creeks that feed it? Does it have any feeder
Well,
creeks?
there's two. I know for sure there's 3 creeks, 3 major rivers that feed into that lake.
Uh-huh.
But I just think these fish are known for really being in 2 key areas, and there is a lot of speculation. Like especially last year after Crappie Masters, I heard some say yay, some say nay. There was 4 fish weighed over 4 pounds last year. The biggest fish was 366 this year.
Huh.
The quality was not there this year like it was last year. And I mean, it's still Grenada. It's still got big crappie, but it was a different quality this year than last year. It was just a different class of fish. But they said last year, I heard from people at the weigh-in, after Crappie Masters last year, they said you couldn't hardly put a boat in anywhere on the lake because all the ramps were so crowded.
Wow.
And when you really funnel those fish down to smaller areas, put thousands of boats in there trying to catch them all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, and what I've heard over the last couple of years, and I'm being told, there's people that say those fish are still there. That they were just, you weren't able to get to where some of those big fish were at. And they said the last couple of years of Crappie Masters have hit the perfect storm. It was the perfect storm for those big fish.
Right.
And this year wasn't.
Right.
I don't feel like as big a fish this year have been caught as last year.
Yeah. I like going against the grain. When a person tells me that this is where you got to go to win a tournament, I mean, I know you'd have to put time in, but if that lake got creeks and rivers that feed it, I'm gonna go beat them up, see if I can't make something happen. Because in my mind, there's some things that people are looking over.
Yes.
When you have areas that are like that.
And most of the time, from my tournament experience, the person that does the winning is the one that thought outside the box.
Right.
Exactly.
He could have been with everybody else,
Yeah.
but he's done something different than everybody else. He's
Right.
done something to put himself above everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
I
it's
agree.
no different than even last year when we went to Texoma and we won Texoma. Most people were fishing 10 feet of water or less. We caught our fish 30 feet deep.
Wow.
I was probably the only boat fishing 30 feet deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we know you kept the fish alive because you won the tournament, but
Yep.
how tough was it to keep those fish alive from
I had
that
one
depth?
fish. We actually had one fish. We lost 4/10 of a pound. And we were still able to win the tournament with a dead fish that I had to replace with a fish that was almost half a pound smaller.
Oh wow. Nice.
So yep, we did have one fish die.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Damien says gas is too high now to be running all over looking for fish.
Hey, it is nice though to go fish a tournament and not start your big motor all day.
You ain't lying about that. I agree with that.
Or at least to where you get where you're going, you know.
Right.
He pretty soon he'll have his own crappie show.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Oh, Hayden will be he'll be in something.
Yeah. I don't see that happening because he ain't gonna tell nobody what he's doing.
No, not right now. He's not.
Yeah, no, he ain't gonna tell nobody. But I think he's already said it. I just think that we're overlooking it and we're overthinking it.
Right.
No, I'm telling you, I fished around the kid on
Yeah.
Saturday. He was on the fish. I mean, he was on he put himself in contention and he was on the right fish.
Yeah. Yeah. Travis Decker website. You have
Nope.
a website, Facebook?
No, sir.
We know you're on
Facebook page.
Facebook though. Get slapped.
Hayden on Lake Fork, 1,000 pounds.
Pounds of crappie.
Hey. And maybe in 2 days, hey, it wouldn't surprise me. I'm not kidding you.
Thank you, broke hamster. Glad you're enjoying. That's what we do, man. We, this shows this. We share, and
Lake Fork, 1.7 low.
There you go. Chuck Adams says, "Do you start far away from the dam as possible and find the dirtiest water to start on a new lake?"
I think it depends on the lake and what kind of water the lake has in it to start with. But yes, a lot of times we're going to the west end of the lake or the north end of the lake. We're gonna probably start. I mean, and what's surprising is even like last year on Cedar Creek, we fished Cedar Creek. We caught our fish in 6 and 8 feet of water at the end of July, and it was 105 outside with 90-degree water temperatures.
Wow.
We caught fish in the tournament was 1 in 6 feet of water. So, I don't think you can even let water. There's just certain lakes that fish shallow.
Yeah, I agree.
And you got to just kind of know the type of lake it is, the type of clarity it is, and and that'll kind of steer you in the right direction to how the lake's going to fish.
Yeah. And I'll say this I've heard that being said by a few guys, run north, get in that dirty water. But I'll tell you this, on a couple of the lakes that I fish down here, man, that don't overlook that south end.
Mm-hmm.
And especially Lake Houston. I'm giving up a big old tip right here because most of the guys feel that they looking for the East Fork or West Fork to win these tournaments. But each time I disappear and run somewhere. Not that I'm fishing deep, but I'll make a run, and I'm not going north. I'm not going east. I'm not going west. It's going south. And the guys that fished it, that used to fish those tournaments on Lake Houston, they know. I came with it often, and I came with it from the south, and it's per lake, just like Travis said. Don't just get something that people, even what I'm saying, don't just give what I'm saying and just go out there and that's all you do. Weigh your options when you go out there. Find what, get that pattern, get that system that works best for you. And that's what help. It's like, we were saying a while ago, do things that are a little bit different. Find
And
what works the best for you.
another tip I'll give, SK, a lot of these people may know, they may not know. This is my experience. Depending on what kind of crappie you have in the lake is also going to lead me as to what direction I need to go. If I'm typically looking for whites, I'm looking for dirty water. If I'm looking for blacks, I'm looking for clear water.
Yeah.
So that's just another tip. The blacks prefer the clear water.
Yeah.
Hey, Darren, you know what, man? I'm going to go out on a limb, and I think the weather as of right now, no wind on Saturday, I don't think it's going to affect them at all.
Look at that.
Tell you what, that 11-degree surface water temp change, it slowed the bite down for me tremendously today. Man, I had to search long and hard for some good fish.
Yeah.
But we did still find them. But they were not in the areas that I've been on them. But it's like we always say, the fish gonna eat every day. You just got to find the ones that are eating while you're on the lake.
Yep. They got to eat.
Yep. Do you start? Okay, we already covered that. I have spoke with the biologist in Mississippi. This year, the pressure has taken a toll on the quality of fish. My main lake I have fished for 20 years is showing the same thing. I have yet to see a 2.5.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like I said, I'm just, from my personal opinion, I don't think like a Grenada. I think the pressure from Grenada last year and producing 4 fish over 4 pounds on Crappie Master scale, and the national attention that led, I mean, people flocked to Grenada after that.
Yeah. And when you have that many people that descend to a lake, I mean, it's bound to. But now, one thing that I've talked to a few biologists over the years, and it seems that creel surveys for crappie are just almost none. This it's almost impossible to get, because they do hold at much deeper depths than what they can get them up from.
Right.
Jamal says we need some crappie tournaments in Pacific Northwest to qualify the Crappie Classic.
Start a local. Right.
Is he talking about the expo?
No, Washington State, kind of up there. There's nothing up there.
Well, he said to qualify for the Crappie Classic.
Oh, yeah, probably.
That's what I was thinking. Is he talking about the expo?
I'll try to get with a sponsor,
That, or I mean, you can reach out to Wally yourself and try to get in touch with him, because they're always probably looking for a few people to fill some spots.
Right. And sometimes they pick from local tournaments, someone that's like won a title or something.
Rejuvenate.
Okay.
What's the other stuff that they put in the live well?
We use G Juice.
Yeah,
G Juice. There you go. Yeah.
Rejuvenate. I know Wally had some stuff he was promoting to put in your live wells.
He throat hooked one in a tournament one time, and he dripped their stuff down. Okay.
Oh yeah. They do that with Coca-Cola. They'll put it down the fish's mouth. It's supposed to hurt, solve a cut or whatever.
Yeah. Super Dave over there dropping those links. We really do appreciate you, Super Dave. Yeah. Super Dave is a moderator we got in the chat.
Yeah.
And a avid crappie fisherman. Strange weather in Texas. You're right.
It may throw him for a little loop this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm confused too.
I'm supposed to get a new roof today, but tomorrow's weather stopped.
I thought I was done. I thought I was done with my heavy gear, but I'm definitely going to have it on Saturday morning.
They've been doing krill surveys every week at Eagle, my main lake. They krill over 25,000 two days in January. It's been ruined, just like Washington has. It's junk now. Huh.
Mississippi has like the big four, whatever. All them lakes
Texas
are
got me.
pretty good. Enid, Sardis, Arca Butler, and Grenada. Enid has, I think it's the world record crappie, 5 point something out of it.
SK, you giving those Denali rods away? Not today. Not today.
I need to try one of them 16-foot Denali's.
I got to get a couple more of them. I'll get you one. I'll get you one.
I want to say I held one the other day. Xavier let me use one. The guy he was fishing with, that's what he used, was a Denali rod.
Yeah.
It's a thicker rod, but it was light.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's light.
And I want to say I was using a 13 or 14.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Felt good though.
Yeah.
That 16, for the length of that 16, man, it's really light and it's really balanced.
The Scott brothers, that fish cat, they run Denali's.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a rod with a little softer tip. I mean, but I like that because
it's got a lot of backbone in it.
It got backbone.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, I've swung some big old bass.
Yeah.
You guys, Steve, I've swung a big old Gaspergoo.
Yeah.
There ain't no breaking these rods.
Right.
I caught plenty of those on Conroe.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
Hey, we pulled up in that area. We was in like 4 or 5 foot of water, and I told Michael, here we go. Here we go. Dropped on him one. Michael goes, well, you got the size right, but you ain't got the species right.
That's right. They will fool you. And they thump fire from that jig, too.
Oh, they will. Yep.
That's funny right there. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, man, they school up just like crappie. They school up just like crappie. Yes, sir. Thank you. Hey, man, you stayed on just about the whole show.
Yeah.
I'll send a few emails to Wally and see if he likes the idea. Yeah. West Coast League.
Hey, and Jamal as well. Wally is always, to me, he's about expanding the crappie fishing. So even if you reached out to him and let him know, hey, here's what I do. Here's where we're at. We're interested in fishing the expo. I'd be willing to bet he'd give you that opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
13-footer Junko makes.
Yeah, so you're talking about the X13.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think I got one of them, but I'll be 100% honest with you. My personal opinion, I prefer the Kevin Rogers, which is not the Kevin Rogers anymore, but I'm not sure what they're calling it. But it's the 79.99 Jinko.
Yeah. Then they make a red 13-foot. I don't know, Hypersense or something.
Oh, it's the Hypersense.
Yeah, but that ain't the expensive one. He's probably talking about, like you said, X13.
He's talking about the X13.
Yeah. Gas Badoo. I know people that eat Gas Badoo. They buy it at Fiesta. They sell it.
Yeah. I don't. It may fry like crappie, but it ain't gonna taste like crappie.
I'm gonna pass myself.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Hey, but a lot of people, what's that? It's like a carp bouillon or something that they call it. What is it?
Oh, they eat carp. Yeah, I see people eat carp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend likes chewing the fish from around the bones. I always pick them out. That's funny.
Hey, I do know Murdoch Jinko is on the verge of releasing some new rods. So be on the lookout for that coming up in the next few months.
Yep. Well, guys, we pushing it. We got 10 minutes. Travis, I know we could sit here and talk crappie fishing all night, man, but we're right at the end. And man, I really do appreciate just like the last time, man. You've shared some really good stuff and all the best wishes I can give you on these tournaments, man. I know you're gonna do well. Just keep pushing.
We give it a good try. And I mean,
that's right.
It's always a learning experience. And a lot of times, when we first started fishing crappie tournaments, you see these people, that come in with 13, 14, 15 pounds and you weigh 12.
Yeah.
You're like, well, man, I wasn't on 15 pounds. Where did y'all see these fish? And now we're to the point of, man, maybe we didn't win it. Maybe we got 9th place, but we saw those fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, we just didn't, and we did on, and I'm not making any excuses, but on Friday we did, we broke off on 2 big fish. I mean, set the hook for whatever reason. My 20-pound braid broke.
Wow.
On a fish, and Michael was trying out. I didn't know this at the time. I'd thrash him again if he was on air, and who knows, he might be watching. He was trying out some 8-pound braid.
Oh,
That he had in his mind he wanted to try it, and he broke off on a
not
big
during
fish.
the tournament.
Man, I didn't know it, and I heard him say after that it was 8-pound braid, but I was thinking diameter, not actual poundage.
Mm-hmm.
And long story short, those 2 fish on Saturday would have probably put us in the top 10.
Right.
If we could have started in the top 10 on Saturday, we'd have probably ended in the top 5.
Yeah.
Right.
But it happens. I mean, it just, you can't, when you fish at that level, you can't have those mistakes.
Right.
That's right.
You just can't. There's not enough to recover from and compete.
Yeah. But the thing is, you guys were still competitive in that tournament.
Yeah.
Those guys know they better not slip or you're going to be right there.
Yeah. And we did, but like I said, them 2, on day 1 when we were sitting in, 19th place, we jumped 10 places on day 2.
Right.
Yep.
But with those 2 fish, we'd have been top 10.
Yeah.
And then on same day 2, we'd have been top 5.
Yeah.
I mean, those 2, you just can't have those fish get away from you.
You're thinking $3,000-$4,000 sometimes.
I mean, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that just, it still frustrates me, but you've just got to take it back. I know Michael, I guarantee you he's not using it no more.
Right.
And I'm going to verify that before that reel gets in my boat again.
Y'all want to laugh? I'm just going to flash this for a minute. That's a laugh.
Hey, I used to use them. I broke every one of them I ever had. So
yeah.
I know people there even talking going 40-pound braid. You know what I mean? In Florida, they use it.
Well, I made the comment today. I talked to somebody today that honestly, I feel like I actually have 2 spools of 20-pound braid in my truck right now that I bought brand new to go to Grenada. And I believe I'm going to take it back and go to Bass Pro, and I'm going to buy 30.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Okay.
I don't want to break off.
It's actually stiffer.
Yeah, I don't want to break off. I mean, just period. I don't want to lose fish because my line broke.
Yeah,
And
that's one of the number 1 reasons why I use 20 is because you get way less tip wrap.
Yeah.
Stiffer
on your rod. Yeah, it's stiffer. Yep. I've never thought of going 30.
Yeah. The Florida guys, they were using 40. They were fishing that grass and stuff.
Yeah.
But I've never tried it. But like I said, I was gonna just maybe go get me a spool of 30 and give it a try.
Yeah, give it a
If
try.
you're using 1/4 ounce weights and 1/4 ounce jig heads.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, you're talking about probably 30-pound braid with probably an 8-pound diameter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no more than 10.
Stuff. Yeah.
I don't see that making any difference from 20 to 30 myself.
Right.
Right.
And I'd rather have the 30 if I could, as long as I can get by with it.
Exactly.
I agree.
Especially when you're fishing trees and that them trees actually roughing up your braid if you're not looking at it all the time.
Yep.
I totally agree. Well, guys, Travis, I really do appreciate you coming on, buddy, and I'm looking forward to seeing single digits besides your name on the leaderboard, and I know it's going to happen.
Well, we're gonna give it a good try. That's all I can say.
That's right, Travis. What knot you put on the braid fluoro?
I have no idea what it's called. I'll be honest with you. I just know how to tie it. Yeah. I just lay the 2 lines over each other, flip it around my fingers, and they cinch down.
Uni to uni.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have
I
no
think
idea
you
what
do
the
need-
knot's called.
Darian says hashtag Ranger Boats. We'll do the giveaways next week, guys.
Tell him to
Come
find
back
me.
next week.
Tell Darren to find me a 522.
There you go. But guys, we again, Travis, Steve, guys, we appreciate you coming on. Super Dave, you the man handling the chat over there. Slick, Big Les, I know you're listening at work. Everybody that's in the chat, we do appreciate you guys for being here. And man, Travis shares some top-notch stuff. This guy knows what he's doing. The answers he's gave to some questions are spot on. He shares some really good stuff. You don't find a lot of people that do that. And we really do appreciate him for being on. We got to have you back, Travis. Good luck this coming weekend. Go out there and smoke them. Put it on them.
We're gonna give it a good try, y'all. And
There
I
you go.
appreciate you having me on.
Without a doubt. We're going to do it again. We
All right.
appreciate
See
you.
y'all later.
Appreciate you. Yes, sir.
Yep. Take
All
care.
right, Steve. We'll be
All
back next week.
Yeah.
Same time, same
Same
flavor,
place.
guys.
Yeah.
Peace.
Take care.